see the way they hate. And I know better than to listen to the people who are calling us slaves. I can feel the sunlight shining.
Well, good morning and welcome to episode 894 of the Lots Project Morning Show, where the coffee is strong, the opinions are stronger, and everything is always filter free. I'm Brian, your host, and it's June 29th, 2026. This morning I'm enjoying a fresh cup of light Ethiopian from foodforestfarms.com because life's too short for shitty coffee. At Food Forest Farms, your beans are roasted by real human hands using a clean stream air roaster. More than just a customer, your family. Get 10% off with code LOTS10, that's LOTS10, and shipping is always free. While you're there, check out C4 Club for even more awesome perks. Today I've got another busy show. I'll give you a cabin update as we continue prepping the floors and cutting down trees, but weather delays are on the horizon. We'll talk about why Waymo isn't replacing my truck anytime soon. I'll share some honest thoughts after years of living full-time in an RV, and with Independence Day around the corner, we'll talk about America, freedom, and whether we're living up to the ideals we celebrate every 4th of July. Grab your coffee, smash that like button, and let's get started. Good morning. Good morning. How's it going? Hope everybody is doing well on this Monday morning. It's getting warm here in Tennessee for sure. Good morning, Mike's Homestead. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate it. Yeah, you got warm weather coming too over there, not too far from us. But yeah, gonna get toasty. And yeah, we'll talk about that in a few minutes with the cabin update. But let me get some coffee in me first of all. It's been a slow morning. It's the hot weather kind of wears on me, I guess you'd say. By the end of the day, pretty beat. Corey and I have been getting out to the property yesterday. We were out for, I don't know, half a day, and that was enough for sure. By the time we were ready to pack it up and head home, I was soaking wet and had definitely burned some energy, and it's just it kind of zaps the energy out of you. So by the time I go to bed, and I stayed up a little late last night, and then up early again this morning. So coffee is definitely needed for sure today. Get this dog hair on my eyeballs. Anyway, let's get to the Bitcoin guessing game, get that out of the way, and move through that for the day. Today is, like I said, June 29th, 2026 at 6:05 a.m. The price of Bitcoin currently is $59,948. Yeah, $59,948. Took a little dip there last week again. Good morning, Hunter. Thanks for popping in. Took a little dip, and it's doing its thing. Just hanging out there right in that low 60s range. I posted over in the Telegram group, I think it was Thursday, that there was just a boatload of options that were set to come due on Friday, and they were calling for some pretty volatile price action, but it wasn't horrible over the weekend. Been pretty just steady in that low 60s. So we'll see how things go. Last week I talked about some big whales moving some funds and selling at a significant loss, and that being a possible sign of the bottom. And later in the week I put the short up on Facebook and YouTube, and I think it was within a half an hour of putting it up, the price just dropped. It was a cliff, and then bounced back a little bit. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, that Bitcoin price for the contest this week, $59,948. My guess, staying the same up there on the board, 84,321. Staying that way until we hit it. So man, that could be a while. John Palmer in with a shittier guess than mine, $87,654.32. Chris Dixon, 66,780. Thesia in with a guess of 65,500. Palm Tree, 65,000. Getting closer. Blueberry, Texas in with a guess of 63,750. And congratulations goes to Canadian Farmstead Canadian Farmstead. He didn't even wait till till later in the week or anything. Just drops that guess in there, and definitely the closest for the week at 61,000. Congratulations, Canadian Farmstead. If you want to get in on the Bitcoin guessing game contest and win absolutely nothing, just head on over to the Telegram chat at t.me/lots chat. That's t.me/lots chat. And look for the pinned post. I pin it up after the show every week. And just reply with your guess for the price of Bitcoin next Monday morning. Next Monday morning at about 6:05 a.m. And that is the guessing game for the week. Cabin update. Let's move on to that cabin update. Pretty much weekly. Kind of motivates me a little bit to make sure we get something done so I can give some sort of update. Sorry, guys, get a little itch on my leg here. Take care of that. It was a good week. Got some stuff done. Got some progress. Got some news. New, not necessarily news, but figured some stuff out that might delay us a little bit. Always delays. I've come to expect that there's just going to be delays after the years of being out here and trying to put this project together. It seems like we'll get momentum, we'll get some steam, and then there'll be something that delays us. And I think that's going to happen again here. But we do have alternative things to work on, so that's a good thing. Last week, I believe we had started the patch for the floor, for the subfloor, all the seams and the screw heads. And had done the majority of that and ran out of patch. And I was also clearing some of the brush and the overgrown brambles for dropping the trees. I think that's where we left off last week. I got the patch finished. I was able to pick up another package of patch early in the week. Got a couple of small batches mixed up and got the rest of the screw holes finished. Corey and I went out later in the week and started sanding. Had initially figured that it would be pretty easy to sand, that we could just knock it off with just hand sanding blocks. Quickly realized that was not the best course of action. We worked on it for, Corey worked on it for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, and the progress was very slow. And if we had done the whole floor that way, I think we both probably wouldn't be lifting our arms above our heads for quite a while. Lots of shoulder action, hands and knees, and it was going to take a while. So we regrouped on that one. It was a hot, humid morning for sure. I had been working on some other stuff, fulfilling an Etsy order for some craft supplies, some wood triangles. Somebody ordered up some wood triangles, and so I was doing that. And then I came in to help, and we both were kind of over it, to put it lightly. So we decided to give some palm sanders a try. We had 2 palm sanders and went with that. They were back at the cabin. So we packed it in for the day, came out the next day with the sanders, and that worked great. It went pretty fast. It worked well. I think that it worked sufficient enough that we're finished with the sanding. We knocked it out, in a few hours yesterday morning. And I think the sanding's done. So the patch is done. The sanding's done. We've got 1 round of sweeping and vacuuming in to get the dust up off the floor. So we're really close to actually being prepped to lay the sheet vinyl down. Earlier in the week when I went to get the patch, though, I went to Lowe's to get the patch, and I was finalizing the materials and the supplies to lay down the sheet vinyl. So the adhesive, I was looking at primer options, which I've come to the conclusion that likely I won't need to use primer because of the adhesive that we're going to be using. And I posted in the Telegram group about my interaction with the Lowe's employee. That was fun. That was fun, to say the least. I had gone in. One intention was to get a lead time on ordering the sheet vinyl. I don't want it delivered. It's just too much of a headache trying to coordinate delivery to the property, just where it's located and access and GPS and like the delivery drivers trying to get there. I have to meet them out at the road, and you know, with Lowe's delivery, it gives you a window of like 4 or 5 hours for me to sit there and just wait for them to show up. And so I would much prefer to pick it up at the store. And when I was looking online, there was no option to pick up at the store, like order it online and pick it up at the store. It was either well, you could pick up stuff that was in stock, and if it wasn't in stock, you could order it and have it shipped to you, to your home. But there was no option of ship to the store, and they didn't have enough of the sheet vinyl in stock for me to do the whole order. So I was going to go to the desk and the pro desk and ask them and talk to them about just ordering what I need and picking it up there. And then while I was there, I was also going to look at what adhesive and things they have. And so I went to the pro desk and I was talking to the guy, and he's like, yeah, that's no problem. They don't like it when I order it to the store. I'll just have it delivered here, and then you can pick it up. I don't like it when they don't like it when I do that, but I do it anyway. And I was like, what an odd, like, I don't understand how they don't want to ship it to the store. If I can order online, have the order fulfilled, and pick it up at the store, what is the big deal about ordering it and if it's not there, having it just held at the store? I don't understand. What if I need to get other stuff at the store while I'm there? It's such an odd thing. I'm pretty sure it used to be an option. I just don't see it anymore. But anyway, talk to him about that. It's only a couple day turnaround on ordering it, so I did not do that. I want to make sure that we can pick it up with the trailer, take it to the cabin, and walk it right in and take it inside and keep it out of the weather and the elements. And so that was on hold. I asked him, the guy at the pro desk. He's a pretty smart dude. I've interacted with him quite a bit. The same guy. There's a couple of the guys there that they're actually pretty with it. And so I was talking to him about the primer and the adhesive, because I had already been back and looked at the shelf and kind of went over what the options were. Pretty much from looking at the adhesive, the primer is it doesn't need to happen. Just the formulation that they've made and with our subfloor that we're using, it doesn't really need to be primed. But I was making sure. Hunter says I ordered online for delivery and they sent it from the Lowe's 2 hours away instead of the one 15 minutes away. Yeah, that makes about right sense. But the whole online thing is pretty much screwed at the moment. But anyway, I was just double checking that they didn't have any primer on the shelf, because I didn't see any really. And I was kind of thinking that the reason they stopped carrying it was because they had formulated products and they were carrying products that didn't require it. And so I was talking to the guy, and he's like, "Oh, well, that would be a better question for Barbara back in flooring." And I'm like, "Okay, well, more than likely, if he's referring, like he's like I said, he's a pretty with it dude. I'm figuring if he's saying, Barbara back in flooring, maybe Barbara was like a flooring salesperson for a long time and has retired and come to work at Lowe's. Maybe she's gone through courses, manufacturer courses or something. I'm thinking, if this dude's referring me to her, that she's got to know something. And he's like, "Do you want me to walk you back there and we can find her?" And I'm like, "Well, shit, if he's going to walk me back there, make sure I find the right person. This Barbara chick probably knows what she's talking about." So I'm like, let's go back." And so we walk back to the back, and we find Barbara, and he says, "Hey, this guy's he's looking to put down some of the sheet vinyl, and he's got some questions." She's like, "Oh, well, why don't you? What I would think that you'd probably want to put down vinyl plank instead." Was like the first thing she said, and I'm like, "Oh Jesus!" But anyway, she's like, "What's your questions?" And I was like, "Well, I was seeing that you have about one adhesive choice for the fiberglass backed vinyl sheeting, and from reading it, it doesn't explicitly say you don't need primer, but it says you don't. But I don't see you have any primer here. I was wondering if you had anything, because depending on what you have and how much it is, I might just do it anyway for a little bit of added adhesion." And she's like, "Oh." So we walk back, we're looking at the shelf, and I was like, "Yeah, it's like a 750 square foot cabin." So I got to do the whole floor. And there was like a jug of, it was like 1 quart. So like if you were doing a bathroom floor, maybe a small bathroom floor, it might be enough. And it was ungodly priced. And she's like, "Well, we have this primer." And I'm like, "No. I'm looking for a significant amount, like a gallon, probably 2 gallons worth to do the space I'm doing." She's like, "Oh, yeah, I don't think we have it. Maybe you can use some wall primer." And I was like, that doesn't sound right. But I looked it up later, and it would be a very bad choice to use wall primer. And I'm like, no, that's fine. She's like, "Well, what about grout primer?" And I'd already gone down that line when I was looking online at the inventory at Lowe's and looked, and that was exactly the opposite of what we wanted to use, and because it that has a added texture to it, and we're supposed to be making it smoother and more adhesive, and so that was the opposite route. And so I'm quickly understanding that Barbara is just the girl that works in flooring and has no fucking clue what she's talking about. And so after she tried to sell me some vinyl plank and stow its virtues on me, because I didn't know what I needed, I just kind of left it at that and went to do more research on my own. But anyway, one of the things I found out when researching the adhesive that are my options to use from Lowe's is it's only supposed to be used at ambient temperatures in the cabin of between 60 and 85, which for the time being, for the 10-day forecast, isn't going to happen for us. We're sitting here in the upper 90s every day. We're lows in the lower to mid 70s, and that's really for this foreseeable future. I saw at the end of the 10-day forecast yesterday when I was looking, it's getting back down into the lower 90s, so it might not be too long. I think we'll get it ordered. We got, like I said, we got probably another round or two of vacuuming to make sure that all the dust is up from the sanding. But we'll get it ordered. We'll get it in the cabin. We'll let it start acclimating. We'll get it cut to size and laid out. And at that point, we'll check the temperatures. And if it's good to go, we'll proceed. If not, we'll just have all the supplies. We'll be ready to do it when the temps drop a little bit, and we'll move on to doing other things. There's plenty of stuff to do that we can do, but we'll get that ready and have it in place to finish off when the temperatures are right. I'll probably move on to doing roughing in electrical, possibly plumbing at that point, for stuff that we'll be working on the actual cabin. Outside, have plenty of work. Last week I was getting ready to drop some trees. I was able to drop a half a dozen trees. Nothing got crushed. Everything kind of landed where I intended. and changed the skyline quite a bit. Still have quite a few to drop, but that was a big start. The next day I came out and limbed them all up. A lot of these were trees that had limbs from the bottom to the top, and it was a lot of brush. Use the 20-volt DeWalt chainsaw I got. It's a 12-inch bar on that. It's light. It runs great. It works perfect for that type of work. I really wouldn't want to cut the trees down with it, or cut them up, like cut the trunks up for firewood size. But limbing them, getting the branches and the brush off, it worked great. It was hot, it was humid, and hauling around the gas chainsaw and wielding that all day would have been a chore. It was a chore with just the DeWalt, but man, it made life easy. It's light. Like I said, the batteries last forever. One little complaint I did have, I really wish the batteries kind of would go faster. And then maybe I'd be able to take a little bit more breaks, but I try to run the thing until the battery drops, and man, it's a significant amount of time. Once or twice I had to go grab water break before it had died, just because it was just lasting too long. We did end up with some significant brush piles, and like I said, I still have a bunch of trees to drop. My intention was to run that all through the biochar reactor. Still trying to tune that in, trying to figure out the using the smaller space in the retort that I have. I don't want to do open flame burning, like open pit burning at the property, with no access to significant water, in case it spreads. My beautiful bride would definitely agree with not burning that, other than in maybe a barrel or a fire pit. So thinking of alternative options to get rid of these huge brush piles. Otherwise, even if I did have the biochar retort running, it would take forever to run this all through it. So Jamie down at the end of the road, he acquired out of the woods, basically, this is a residential grade wood chipper. And so I asked him, I said, hey, did you ever get that thing running? From last thing I knew, it wasn't running. He told me that he kind of got it unseized. It was a little seized up, got it unseized, but could never get it running. So at the moment, I have a project to help get that running, and hopefully we can get that running, and I can start running all this brush through that chipper. Otherwise, it might have to get all piled up, and maybe it might be a rental situation where we grab one or borrow one if we can find somebody that has one, and borrow it for the weekend or rent it for the weekend and just knock it all out. But I think burning it is a long process, and I just need to get it out of the way. I need to get it taken care of in the short term, so we can get that solar field cleared and get to the installing of the panels. I also have to get a pad prepped and made for our water tank storage and our utility shed that's going in. So lots of outside work to go, lots of physical labor to do, lots of equipment rental to do, and it's just an endless list to get this cabin going. But we'll get there. And a little bit of progress every day is all that I can ask for. So that is basically the cabin update. At that point, we're getting there. Hopefully get out there and be able to stay out there once we get this floor in and take the dogs out without them ruining subfloor. And being on site will probably get a lot more progress, hopefully, than commuting back and forth. Yeah, that's that. Hunter says he checked the stock. Check stock at the close store. Yeah. Online, man. It's automatic. That kind of leads me into the next thing on my list. as Corey and I have been watching in the evening for while we're relaxing. We've been watching old episodes of MasterChef on Tubi. The TV we ended up buying when our laptop died. We ended up buying a like a $70 TV from Walmart to sit on our table to basically watch movies and TV shows on Amazon Prime is what we do in the evening. And when we got it, it was one of the smart TVs. I guess that's all they sell at this point. But one of the things that came on it was Tubi, and free TV, I guess, is what it is. We've been kind of exploring the other apps on there other than Prime, and so we like cooking shows. We're a big fan of like Hell's Kitchen and things like that. So when we were exploring the shows on Tubi, MasterChef was there. So we went back and we started from season 1. We like watching that type of stuff, and so we're watching it. And couple things. One is on my list, and the other one just I can't get it out of my head because of how obnoxious it is. But on Tubi, there's commercials, obviously, because it's free. Nothing's free. They make you watch the commercials, but the commercials are absolutely insane. Corey and I have basically look at each other every time they come on, but it's obsessive, incessant. Every commercial break. So basically, it's not every break on the TV show. So it's probably every other natural TV break. Like if it had been airing live, they run anywhere from 3 to 6 commercials, and at least one, sometimes all of them on every commercial break are for fucking cell phone games, and mostly for, what are they, slots? Is that what those payout games are, Corey? I think they're slot machine apps, games for your phone, and they're basically telling people that they're going to, like, one of them specifically, and it says at the bottom, this is just a commercial, blah blah, these results aren't typical, blah, blah, like all this shit, but basically telling people that they're going to be making money playing slot machine games on their phone. Basically, one guy says, I'm going to show you how to double your income. Double your income, guys. Just download this slot machine app, and you're gonna go to town. Other ones have been, one girl bought her dream collection of designer handbags. One was a pregnant woman whose husband left, and she was washing windshields for dollars, and it was going to save her life to use this slot machine game and make money. And just the absurdity of the other ones, it just, they come on and we just look at each other like, what the fuck is going on? They also advertise for things like Royal Kingdom. It's an app, a game, I guess. It's a match-em game, like Candy Crush, a version of that. And some other games that I'm really not sure. And as Corey and I ask each other, like, what was that all about? And we really think that the you failed making a commercial when people watch it and have no idea what it's about. So those are some infuriating commercials that we have to watch. Some other ones are all the drug commercials. There's 800 different versions of Ozempic now, and there's a commercial for all of them. And yeah, so there's a ton of those. But one that's kind of caught my interest, and it made me ponder, and it ended up on my list here to talk about, was a commercial for Waymo. I think it's Waymo, the autonomous cars, the basically a taxi service with self-driving cars. No thanks. No thanks. I'll pass. Basically, the commercial shows it says are the robots here or something to that effect, and basically saying that it's a good thing that we're being taken over by robots. But it shows people getting in the car. Corey asked an interesting question. She says, "So when a single passenger orders a Waymo and it picks them up, why do they get into the back seat? If there's no driver, if there's no, when you get in a cab, usually you get in the back because the driver's in the front. If there's no driver, why is the single person getting in the back by themselves?" I didn't have a good answer for that. I said because it's a taxi, and that's just what you do. And she kind of pushed back on my reasoning, which I don't blame her. But I can't see myself getting in one of these vehicles. First of all, I've seen too many videos online of them doing absurd things. I've seen other videos of people basically quote unquote attacking them as they sit at stoplights, as they sit at corners, and people knowing that they're autonomous vehicles and that there's nobody in the vehicle to do anything about it. And then the horror stories of what these autonomous vehicles can do, even to the Teslas and the self-driving, the things that can end up happening with a person that's supposedly watching and assisting this driving. I can't see myself getting in one and sitting in the back seat and just putting my life and general safety in the hands of some computer and some navigation system, and relying on the fact other drivers will avoid it. Other drivers will, or it will avoid other drivers. It won't get confused at some traffic signal and end up parking across some railroad tracks. And yeah, not for me. I don't know if anybody in the audience has used this service. Maybe it's good for delivering food. Maybe it's good for I don't know what, but not for me. So I don't see myself using one in the near future, or probably ever, really. I don't know at what point you can really convince me that that putting my life in the hands of a computer driven car is a wise decision. So I don't know. Have you ever used one? I don't know. I can't. First of all, I've never seen one. I don't live someplace urban enough to have access to one, so that's probably a good thing. But even if I was in the city, I just don't see myself jumping in one anytime soon. Yeah, so that's the commercials on Tubi. Just good luck with that. Next thing on the list, Corey and I have been talking a little bit, and I actually have had some questions on Facebook. Hunter said top speeds 12-ish miles per hour. Really? You really get going where you're going fast then, huh? Are they only inner city? Are they only like if you're going from a couple blocks, or what is the point of something that can only drive that fast? He says you can survive that speed crash. Yeah, but when the thing parks on the railroad tracks and won't open the doors for your safety, and the train's coming, I don't know if you'll survive that. Will you survive the other car barreling into you at well over 12 miles an hour? And it's on my list for the next topic, but other drivers are a bigger threat to my safety than myself. Really, where's my sense of adventure? Dude, I sold a 35-acre property and house to go live in a fucking RV. Where's my sense of adventure? And building a cabin in the middle of the fucking woods. Where's my sense of adventure? There, that's safety for you. Anyway, I've been doing a little bit of spreading the message in groups over on Facebook. So joining homesteading groups, joining off-grid groups and things like that. There's been some financial incentives to do such thing, doing a little bit of promotion over there. And I've gotten a couple people asking questions about full-time RVing. Our profile picture over there is Corey and the dogs and I in front of the RV. It's obviously in our profile and things like that. So when people start following or they check it out or I've posted some stuff about it, they're asking what I thought about it. And Corey and I have also talked about it a little bit recently. Some things have come up here and there that we referenced some of the decisions we made when we took off and when we decided to do it, and really got me thinking, would I do it again? And if I would do it again, would I do it different? Basically identifying some of the goods and the bads about what we did and why we did what we did, and if we had the option, would we do it different? Would I do it again? Maybe. Depends on the situation, really, I guess, and why. I don't know if I want to ever do it full time again. I would probably do extended road trip or longer term, more than just a vacation. I don't think I ever want it to be my primary residence again. And there's a few reasons for that. One, basically the other driver thing. Corey and I both agree that the nerve level, the stress level of transporting your only shelter from point A to point B on the highway or just any road is it's enormous. The fact that you could have a tire blowout and completely wreck your only shelter that is also containing everything you own, is the stress level of that is pretty high. The stress level that someone could cut you off, someone could turn into you, accidents happen, and they happen more and more every day with inattentive driving and just like that. So both just no fault things, shit happens type of things, and also I don't want to say malicious, but yeah, somebody else's fault or even our own fault. Good morning, Canadian Farmstead. Congratulations on the win this week, sir. Should have got up a little earlier. You would have got to hear it live. But the stress of something happening and losing pretty much everything you own, and not having anywhere to go, it wears on you. It wears on you. And on top of that, right now we face the issue now that we're parked full time and we're not moving, is severe weather. I think if we were to do this again, we really would have to have a better plan for severe weather. Talking tornado, hurricane. I guess that would be really the only severe weather we'd be in. But right now we just don't. We have no recourse in it. If it's tornado season and tornado warnings and whatnot, we don't have an option to do anything. We don't have a storm shelter where we're at. And if you're moving consistently, unless you're at a happen to be at a campground or a private camp that has tornado facilities, you just don't have anywhere to go. Going in the truck is an option, I guess, maybe. But I've heard both that that's better and or worse. We talked at one point of doing anchors for the truck. There's options that you can run cables and anchors through the truck and hunker down in there. Public shelters are an option, but not with our animals. And I think Corey would rather ride it out and end up unalived than leave her animals to experience that on their own. So that's not really an option. So basically, at this point, we've come to the conclusion that we're just gonna fucking rock and roll, ride it out. I might as well just go to sleep and see what happens the next day. Canadian Farm says it's time to build a root cellar storm shelter, I guess. Yeah, I mean, and that's the plan where we're going to be. But kind of talking about living in the RV full time and some of the things that we've realized since we've done it, and if we would do it again. And I mean, really, I think if we were to do it again, we would just probably need to plan better to not be in an area where the severe weather and the possibility of tornadoes happen. I mean, what's up in Arkansas? Yeah. Canadian Farm says I need to eat, drink more beer and eat more pizza, and then we'll just hold the RV down. Right? I'm plenty heavy for that. That's something I'm actually working on right now, is figuring that out. Good morning, Marston family. Thanks for popping in. So the severe weather thing, that's unnerving. And just the fact that it's everything that we have. Canadian Farm says, I guess avoiding places with names like Tornado Alley is a good start. Well, right, and then that would be future traveling. Probably would be more targeted. It won't be full time again, and that's another thing that we've really realized, especially building the cabin and getting back into the homesteading and that style of life, is we wish we had gotten like a storage locker and saved a lot of the stuff we had accumulated over the years, namely tools, namely four-wheelers, things like that we sold that helped fund what we were doing. But I think a lot of it would come in handy. I don't know if, well, I do. At this point, I think we could have rented. I don't know. I would really have to do the math on that. If renting a storage locker would have been financially the wise choice to store the stuff, and but at the time we didn't know where we were going to end up. We didn't know how long we were going to be on the road. We didn't know if we were going to be able to get back to where we rented the storage locker to then transport everything to our new location. So it didn't make sense to do it then. I think at this point we will always have a residence, someplace that we can go back to, someplace that is basically quote unquote home, and so therefore we wouldn't be needing to get rid of the stuff like we did. and only take with us what we can put in the truck and the camper. But at the time, for the purposes that we were taking off to go explore and find someplace new to settle, it really just didn't make sense to hold on to stuff. So that's something we would change. I think we probably, if we did it again, if we did extended, and I'm thinking if it would be like, I think in the future it would be like traveling to be with better weather, snowbirding, something like that, where it would be extended traveling, but not full-time living, part-time, I guess. And I think we would probably do it in a smaller rig. Wouldn't you say, Corey? Corey says nothing this big again, and she's the main driver, and I think that's one of the hard parts about driving this rig is it's enormous. It's not as big as a lot of them out there right now, but it's big for us, and it's probably too big for us. And so if we did it again, we'd probably go with a smaller rig. It'd probably be set up different and function different. So would I do full-time RVing again? Full-time, no safety net like we did? Probably not. Am I glad we did it? Yeah, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be building our cabin. We wouldn't be living this adventure. We would probably still be in Minnesota, frozen, just still thawing out from winter right now, and trying to make do with short growing seasons and everything that we didn't like about where we were at. So am I glad we did it? Absolutely. Have we learned a lot? Have we had a lot of great experiences and adventures? Yes, for sure. Canadian. Right. Oh yeah. So yeah, I'm glad we did it. If I knew now what I didn't know then, is that the old Toby Keith song? I wish I knew now. Wish I knew now what I didn't know then. If I knew then what I know now, I'd probably do it different. I probably would have changed things, but that's second guessing and regretting things that just can't happen. So I'm glad we did it. I'm glad that we made the decision to do it. I think it was something that we needed to do at the time, and it's well, it's just, yeah. I think we would have regretted it if we didn't. So just live and learn for sure. So anyway, last thing on the list, I'll probably talk more about the adventures, the RV adventures here coming up, and I might do some YouTube content on it. It's been rattling around in my brain. I just wanted to start talking about it a little bit. So I got one thing else on the list, and with I think the majority of the audience right now, live audience, is Canadian. So this doesn't apply to you. But I've been thinking about, we got America's 250th birthday coming up here. Was it on Saturday? Saturday. Happy birthday, America. Before we talk again, it will be America's 250th birthday. And I see a lot of the typical sheeple, America, yeah, we're awesome, patriotic, but not really grasping why this country was founded. And it's got me thinking quite a bit about where we've come since 1776. Canadian Farm says this. I heard they're going to barbecue bald eagles on the White House front lawn. I mean, the fucked up part about that is I could see it happening. A, I could see that rumor starting, and B, I could also see Orange Man pulling that one out of his ass. So that's a solid input there. But I've started digging down and basically for the last 10 minutes of the show, I did some digging on and contemplating on what the founders would think if they were to look at what we've done with what they provided us. And so I had some conversations with AI about it and asked questions and poke the bear a little bit, and this is kind of the list of things that I think that I pulled from our discussion that the founders would probably ask when they looked at our society today. First one on the list was why is our federal government so huge? In 1776, they had tiny central government, and most of the power stayed local. Canadian Farm says, I know what the founders would think. Hey, Benjamin, fetch your musket. Right? Dude, the tax rate that they were revolting over from the crown was like 5%, 5 to 7%. The tax rate in the newly founded the colonies was like 1.5%. So I don't know, what are we at, like 30, 40, 60% right now? But the founders probably ask why your federal government is so huge. In 1776, tiny central government, most of the power stayed local. And nowadays we have hundreds and hundreds. I would venture to guess thousands of agencies. We have tens of thousands of federal regulations, and the federal government involved in nearly every aspect of everybody's life. I don't think that's what the founders envisioned when they put their shit on the line to form this nation. One big thing I think they would ask is why we're $30+ trillion in debt. The founders were very against debt. Jefferson actually warned future generations that we shouldn't be burdened by today's debts, and would probably ask, how do you call yourself free while owing future labor to pay yesterday's bills? Mike's Homestead says, I realized Lincoln wasn't a founding father, but listen to Hank Jr.'s song, Bocephus, Mr. Lincoln. I have heard that song. So I think that would be something that they absolutely would be ashamed of us to see. They probably ask, who the fuck is writing all these laws? The founders, Congress would literally sit down and write laws. And at this point, Congress basically just pushes through laws that agencies and lobbyists write, staffers write, thousands and thousands of pages of regulations implementing thousands and thousands of pages of laws implementing regulations that the people voting on it have no idea what they're actually even voting on. They would think it would be absurd not to have read something that they were going to vote on to implement and affect other people's lives. I think they would be absolutely awestruck and disappointed that is how our government functions at this point. I think they would also ask, why does government know so much about you? In 1776, the government barely knew you existed. Didn't really even fucking care. Didn't care. The basic census was to get a general rough population count, and the federal government really didn't even know you were there. At this point in 2026, we got taxes, we got bank tracking, We got cell phones, we've got cameras everywhere, we've got license plate readers, financial reporting, social media, digital records. I think they would be ashamed of both the populace for letting it happen and the government for allowing it to happen. I think this topic in particular is going down a very slippery slope very fast. I think we're on the verge of basically. I mean, we're already there, but I think it's just about ready to get really, really, really intrusive. But surveillance state, and I think the founding fathers would be sick about that. Obviously, the technology wasn't there in 1776, but just the idea of the government knowing everything about the citizen just wouldn't make sense to them, even if it was a possibility at that point. Another one was, why are there so many victimless crimes? The founders generally believed government existed primarily to protect life, liberty, and property. And today, people are thrown in jail for licensing violations, permit violations, regulatory offenses, administrative penalties. How many people are in jail and how many crimes today don't have an actual victim? And why is it a crime? I think the endless scrolling up to who's writing all these laws and why is government so huge all lead into the need to have all these victimless crimes to justify their fucking existence. But is there really a crime if no one is hurt, if there's no victim? I know that a lot of people spin it to the population is the victim, or there was a potential victim. I don't think that's good enough. Not to take somebody's freedom away. Couple more here. One is how can you print endless money? The founders were definitely wary of paper money and fiat currencies, and I think they had a right to be. We'll just look at the mess we're in. Look at the mess we're in. Think about maybe a hard asset like Bitcoin or precious metals. We'll move on from that real quick. Why does Congress declare almost no wars? I think our interventionist policies, our worldly policies, kind of look like what they revolted against. If you think about who the Revolutionary War was fought against and why, I think what we do, yeah, we're no better than they were, and the fact that we just skirt around a lot of the regulations of what it takes to authorize military intervention around the world is kind of disheartening, and I think we went down a bad path there. I think they'd be disgusted at what our elections have turned into. I think they'd be probably appreciate the fact that every adult in the country, every adult citizen in the country is able to vote. That we have, if it actually is a transfer of power, if it just isn't one big shell game with different names on different cards, but all from the same deck. Peaceful transfers of power. But I think that they would probably be disgusted with professional politicians, multi-million-dollar campaigns, permanent campaigning, where once elected, all they do is start campaigning again instead of actually doing the job that they were there. And the national political parties dominating people's lives, and that being more of an identity badge than what you are, and that really politics has become what people identify with, and I think that it would be very disheartening and actually warned about. So there is that. A couple things that that they might approve of is that the Bill of Rights still exists, that we have private property still, that people are able to participate in entrepreneurship, that we are advancing technologies, that we have religious liberties still, for now in the country, and that we can still own firearms. I know the Second Amendment is always under attack, but at this point, we can still own firearms as citizens in the country, and I think that's I think that was very important to them, and we'll see how long that lasts. But I'm guessing that the list of things they're going to criticize is a lot larger, including the national debt, inflation, the size of our government, the bureaucracy surrounding government, the permanent political class, the endless regulations, the surveillance capabilities, the executive power that the executive branch has accumulated, and the dependence on government programs, and just the endless spiral of perpetuating government. I think that our founders would be disgusted by it. So in closing, a question to ask yourself going into to America's 250th birthday: if Jefferson, Washington, Madison, Franklin, and Adams walked into Washington, D.C. tomorrow, they rose from the dead, they all assembled and walked into D.C. and took a look around and got a view on what our country has become from what they intended 250 years ago, would they congratulate us on preserving the republic, or would they just ask us, what the fuck did we do? What do you think? What do you think? Guys, I hope you have a great week. I hope you enjoy your holiday weekend. We'll be back again next Monday with another list of topics and hopefully some more cabin progress. Hope you enjoy that holiday weekend, and we will catch up with you next Monday.